And this young boy from a woodworking family went to his father one day and said, "I'd like to build guitars." And his father encouraged him to pursue that passion. He sent him off to Vienna to study with Johann Stauffer. But the whole guitar thing was relatively new. The size, the shape, and the tuning were somewhat new in the late 1900s. We're here at the old Martin Guitar Factory on North Street in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. This building was started in 1859 when the family moved from Cherry Hill down into Nazareth. And as you can see behind me, it's a beautiful old brick structure that's been added to a couple of times. So we're now inside the old factory. This is Gail, and she's setting up a top to send out to somebody. This is now what we call Guitar Makers Connection. And this is a place where people can buy guitar parts. You can also buy complete guitar kits. So now we're here in the extension to the old factory. And this building was built in the early part of the 1900s when ukuleles became very popular. We weren't manufacturing ukuleles up here, but we needed room in the other parts of the factory to be able to manufacture those, and had moved some of the guitar production up here. We're now at brace gluing. You can see the X braces going on over the little glue wheel. She'll apply them to the top. So now we're in brace shaping, and this is standard shaping that happens for all models. A little bit later, we'll be looking at custom shaping as well. Right now, she's trimming off some of the excess pieces of the X brace. We want to keep everything in the dimension of the rim that we'll see later, so those pieces will fit together properly. We're now here at the side bending process. So this is over a hot iron that's heated up to about 420 degrees Fahrenheit. During hand bending, every side needs to go onto a form to make sure that he's getting the proper shape. We can see her slowly moving this material around the rosette. This is a guitar that's going to have a pearl ring. So the centerpiece that we see is simply an insert that will be removed later on. A little piece of string that's going in there. And then he'll start to color match and grain match each of the pearl pieces. Make some cuts and then insert some glue. We'll watch that happen right now. She just applied a little bead of glue to the side of this lining, at the back of the lining, and she's going to start to manipulate this around the body. You can see she's working the binding around the phrase channel, starting to put on a little bit of glue. She'll work the binding onto the body and then tape it off with a special masking tape. All right, we're now here in the Martin Custom Shop.
First thing I do is I'll get the thickness at the first fret and the thickness at the 10th fret, and then I'll flatten it all out.
Welcome to the Martin Museum. We built this museum about 8 years ago, and it's been a wonderful way to showcase our history and some of the old instruments that we have.
We began development of the SC13E about 4 years ago, and the past 2 years have been spent in earnest working hard to develop this and flesh out the idea from concept to finished product. We viewed this project as an opportunity to really fill a void in the marketplace, in the guitar market, where we felt that there really wasn't a perfect option for the guitarist who wants to take one guitar to the gig, to play acoustic guitar, and also have the access and the high register and the playability and comfort to play the electric guitar parts that they might want to play and not have to bring several guitars to one show.
We've always been really rooted in traditional body shapes. So as we were working on this shape, we really wanted to put something out there that would stand the test of time. Something that would look good, not only today, but will look good 100 years from now.
Fred Greene came into my office with this sketch that he was playing around with for a while. And he said, "What do you think about this?" And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. I love the shape of it. And we started thinking about how we can incorporate that sketch into something tangible, because the shape of the body is so different. We had to rethink what was possible.
As we were testing out and proving out some of the concepts and ideas for this guitar, we tried a bunch of different neck profiles. And it turns out that this system that we've come up with here, with this sort of swell in the palm to really fit your hand very nicely, and then to rotate as you go up the neck, really helps a lot, especially for that high fret access in the upper register.
The other aspect of it is we also discovered that a thinner fingerboard has a profound effect on playability. That started the thinking process of, okay, now that we have a modular design of a guitar neck and the dovetail is able to be used, now how do we make it more accessible, where you can now play all the way up to the 20th fret? Comparing it to more traditional cutaways with our brand, other brands, you come into a point where your hand hits the heel of the neck, and also because the heel needs support, you crash into the side of the guitar body. So with this new design of a linear dovetail joint, we were able to get that part scooped away.
We wanted something, if you wanted to strum it and you're a singer-songwriter, you just wanted to play it, it would sound great. It would still project, it would still give you everything you wanted, a very balanced sound, But if you wanted to go a little crazy, if you wanted to be experimental, now you could actually do it. You could actually get to pieces of the guitar that you could never get to before. And that was exciting for the team to work on.
Because of the shape of the body, it really was a challenge to figure out how to get the best tone out of the guitar. And Josh Parker, who's in our R&D group, he runs a sound room. They're able to take the sound of the guitar, get it into a computer, and analyze what it's doing in a very graphical way, so we can kind of see what's going on.
We tested this guitar both acoustically and amplified, because it's kind of supposed to bridge the gap between an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar. So one of the things we were going for was that more like loud rock and roll, maybe lead playing type of instrument. So what we noticed when we started cranking it up was that the shape of the body is in itself kind of a feedback reducer. Feedback resistance is really important, especially in like a live setting. You know, this guitar is meant to be played loud in front of large groups of people, perhaps throw some effects pedals in front of it. You really don't want any unwanted noise when you're doing that. I would say this instrument really started to come together when we struck that balance between playability and tone.
We needed to take what we learned from our prototyping and then transition that to manufacturing. One of the key personnel in that transition is Mark Bickert.
My involvement in this SC13 was to be the project manager, working with the different departments to figure out what we need for gauges, for tooling, fixturing, specifications, and the processes. That challenge was difficult, but it was also rewarding, because as a team, we did come together in the end, and we have a really well-built new design guitar that will be part of our lineup.
The beauty of the SC13 is really in its simplicity in a lot of ways. An acoustic guitar that just has more capabilities than most of what's out there.
I think with this model, we really struck a great balance between tradition and innovation, which is something that we strive for anyway. So combining, classical tonal characteristics with the ability to adjust action is something that you might not see out there every day, but it's super beneficial to have.
I think for me, the most exciting part of this is seeing everything that went into it coming to fruition and being able to play the guitar and just have that feeling like I can do things on this guitar I can't do on my normal acoustic. And it kind of blurs the line a little bit between, some of the electric stuff I like to do and the acoustic thing. So now it's one of my favorite guitars at the moment.
Good morning. My name is Brendan.
Hi, my name is Mike Rapira.
Hi, my name is Mark Smith.
All right, my name is Sean Brandel. Our story, which is really, really fascinating, and a story about a man with a passion, starts here in Marstekirken. And this young boy from a woodworking family went to his father one day and said, "I'd like to build guitars." And his father encouraged him to pursue that passion. He sent him off to Vienna to study with Johann Stauffer. But the whole guitar thing was relatively new. The size, the shape, and the tuning were somewhat new in the late 1800s. We're here at the old Martin Guitar Factory on North Street in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. This building was started in 1859 when the family moved from Cherry Hill down into Nazareth. And as you can see behind me, it's a beautiful old brick structure that's been added to a couple of times. So we're now inside the old factory. This is Gail, and she's setting up a top to send out to somebody. This is now what we call Guitar Makers Connection. And this is a place where people can buy guitar parts. You can also buy complete guitar kits. So now we're here in the extension to the old factory. And this building was built in the early part of the 1900s when ukuleles became very popular. We weren't manufacturing ukuleles up here, but we needed room in the other parts of the factory to be able to manufacture those, and had moved some of the guitar production up here. We're now at brace gluing. You can see the X braces going on over the little glue wheel. She'll apply them to the top. So now we're in brace shaping, and this is standard shaping that happens.
Are we live?
Yeah.
All right. Hey.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of City Music's live stream. My name is Jinglong, and I have my co-host today with me, Elvin.
What's up, guys?
All right.
City Music.
Okay, so today is a very special edition of our City Music's live podcast. This is the first time we're doing this. This is a new segment. We call it Behind the Brands. So why Behind the Brands? This is we'll try to bring people from the brands that we represent, bring up for conversation so we can know more about the brand. We can have a bit of engagement with our live audience here. You can ask questions. Right. And we are very honored for our first episode to have someone from the most important brand of acoustic guitar. The oldest brand, the original American acoustic guitar, Martin Guitars. And today we're going to have the guest by the name of Fred Greene to come on the show to share with us more about Martin Guitars. And, you know, we're going to be breaking out into 3 segments. We're going to have a bit of past, the history, we'll talk about the present, and then we'll also talk about the future, how we're going to, where we're going.
Right.
All right. So
today we are streaming on Facebook, and we're streaming on YouTube as per most of our streams, as per normal. But it's a nice change to have a host, and today I'm co-host. So yeah, just to say hi to some of our friends tuning in. What's up, guys? It's good to see all of you. Do follow us on our social media for more of this kind of content if this is what you enjoy, because we enjoy making this for you guys. And let's see how we're doing. How's everyone in the comments section doing today? Just want to say hi.
How many viewers do we have today?
Right now we are at 32. We got
not
32
too bad,
viewers.
not too bad.
32 of our friends joining us.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up, Jonathan? Kamal is in the comments.
A lot of nice familiar faces here.
Jarvis, Ching, Joseph. Good to see you guys.
Wow. Very good friends. And I think most of them are big fans of Martin Guitars.
Yeah. So it's really nice to have you guys on the stream. And of course, yes, as Ingong mentioned, today we're going to have some giveaways. We are going to do a quiz, 3 questions. So you stand to get one of these Martin Ed Sheeran t-shirts up for grabs. All right. So stay tuned for the quiz. I'll be asking the questions. So yeah, pay attention, class.
We have 3 colors for the t-shirt: black,
yes,
gray, white, and these are only available at City Music, not even from Martin Guitar. So if Fred wants one later, he would have to beg me for it.
So yeah, as for all our live sessions, we do take questions, but today is going to be a little bit different. We are going to have a little bit more of a structured Q&A. So there'll be segments during the video where we'll be taking a few questions that's probably related to the topics that we're talking about. We're going to try our best to hit all the questions, so do bear with us if you know, we didn't answer a question, but we're more than happy to DM you or something. Just slide into our DMs, let us know.
We'll try our best and keep the questions coming. All right.
All right. Okay.
All right. So let's not wait anymore. We have waited enough. So let's have a round of applause and bring in our guest for tonight. Yeah.
Let's welcome
the applause shot. Yeah, longer. Yeah. All right. So,
what's up, Fred?
What's up? Hi, Fred. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Fred Greene. Okay, I think we're facing a little bit of a internet connection issue over Fred's side. So you probably see his face, his image coming in and out, but I think his audio is still fine. So a little bit of introduction first. Fred Greene, Vice President of Product Management.
Yes.
So maybe Fred, you can actually start off by telling us about yourself. What do you do? What do you do at Martin?
Okay, sure. I joined Martin in 2004, actually. Before that, I worked at Gibson Guitar. So I came to Martin, and for the first 13 years I was there, I was in charge of the factory, in charge of building all the guitars. Built up the custom shop, was the person who started up the custom shop at Martin Guitar. And then in the last 3 years, they put me in charge of, luckily, custom and research and design and design in general and all the product management. So I get to decide what guitars we're making and what they're going to look like. I got the fun job now. I got the coolest job in the whole factory.
So
great.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
You know, I Gibson. I actually started at Gibson in 1988. You know, straight out of college. I was playing in a rock and roll band out of college. I actually went to school for journalism. I thought I was going to be a writer at one time.
Okay.
But I liked chasing girls too much and playing guitar, so that kind of got in the way.
I can't say. I almost said same.
So do we. Come on.
No.
We've been there. We've been there.
Not me. Me in the past.
Everybody. That's why we play guitar.
That's right.
That's how I got married.
That's how we can be chick magnets, right?
That's right. I figured I was not a good-looking guy, so I said, if Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, why not, right?
I'm sorry, that's the fact. I apologize for that.
Was that the fax machine?
All right, that's the brake bell at the factory. So I'm sitting in my office right now.
Ooh.
So that's your office in the background.
I thought that's your house.
No, this is my office.
That is so cool. I would love to have an office like that. How do you work?
I have a drum set in the corner, and I've probably got all kinds of electric guitars and acoustic guitars.
That's a studio. That's not an office. That's a playroom.
It is a playroom. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I actually did a little bit of a background check on you, Fred. I went to your LinkedIn. And I saw like, wow, you have a ton of years of experience in the guitar business. But what caught my interest was you started off as a janitor at Gibson.
Yes, that's true.
Serious?
When I graduated from school, I was looking for I was actually working as a reporter at a small paper, and I saw that Gibson had run an ad in the paper for somebody to work in a guitar factory, and I said, "Hey, this is a great job for a guy who wants to play in a rock and roll band." I said, "Maybe I can get my guitars half price or something." So I applied, and they said, "I'm sorry, we filled all the positions. We only have one job available, and we don't think you will want it." And I says, "Well, try me. Maybe I will." And they said, "We need someone to sweep the floors and clean the bathrooms." And
consider it done.
I said, "Why not? I'll do it.
I'll do it too.
Yeah. And before you know it, after a year, I was working at the factory building guitars. And then after 5 years, I was running the factory. And then after a few more years, I was chief operating officer. So it moved really, really quickly. And I learned a lot in a very short period of time. And when I graduated from school, it was an exciting time. The 1990s, working for Gibson Guitar, with Slash and Guns N' Roses. It was a very exciting time to be part of the business.
The rock and roll days, yes.
It was very rock and roll. It was a little bit of a cowboy Wild West at Gibson Guitar in those days. There was a lot of partying that was going on at the factory. It was a little crazy, but it was fun. It was fun, and I learned a lot. But when I saw the job become available for Martin, I told my wife, I says, that's the job. I said, those guys, they build the best guitars. That's where I need to go and really learn how to build acoustics as opposed to just electrics. And I put my name in, and I was lucky enough that Chris Martin liked me and hired me to run his factory. It was a real honor to be able to come and see how Martin does things, which is very different than how Gibson builds guitars. It's a completely different philosophy. So it was a good learning experience.
Is it as rock and roll?
No.
So your wife must be a lot happier, right?
She's much happier. She is much happier. Yeah, Gibson was a lot of parties, a lot of drinking, a lot more travel, and I think that sort of lends itself to that. But Martin is much more settled and more serious about building instruments. I think part of that comes from being a family business. So they take a more family approach to building guitars and how they treat people. And as you get older, it's, you need to settle down and get more serious about your life as you get a little bit older.
Yeah.
And I had children at that point, so it was a lot different. And I wanted to do different things. I wanted to have a greater impact on instrument building in general and how things were done. And Chris and Martin were going to allow me the opportunity to go ahead and try to do some different things with the guitars once I had settled in, and that was really important.
Right.
And you get to work with some different artists too, which was fun.
Great artists too.
So, enjoy that.
Yeah, I think you say the point about the company being very family oriented. We've been working with the brand for so many years, and yeah, indeed, it's a very nice. Everyone that is even us as distributors, as buyers, we feel the part of the family that's going on in this the magic of the Martin family. So that's a very nice feeling that we don't get all the time with some other brands out there.
One of the differences in the factory that was really shocking was at Gibson, we were always trying to manage quality. If you didn't watch it closely, that the quality of the instruments would start to slip, and you would have to work very hard in the factory to keep the quality up, keep the employees engaged in quality. But when I came to Martin Guitar, it was the opposite. We never had to worry about. In fact, it was the employees were tougher than the managers. The employees were more interested in the quality and making sure that the product was getting done correctly. And I never had to push anybody on the quality side of Martin. It was always so good. And even when I was at Gibson, I had bought a Martin guitar, a 1972 D35, which was my main acoustic guitar. So I never played Gibson acoustics. I always played Martin acoustics, even when I worked at Gibson. Because even the folks at Gibson recognized that Martin quality was better. They knew that. Right. We all knew that. And just in terms of what they were building, we could never seem to achieve that level of quality at Gibson that Martin was getting. And it was something that was built in because of the history of the organization, how long it's been going on. They've been building great guitars for a long time, much longer. I mean, they've been in business 70 years before Gibson even started.
That's right.
So pretty interesting.
So what are some of the more iconic creations of Martin model that you have created that you were behind? They were, you had a free play, right? I want this guitar to be like that. So what are some of the more popular model that you have actually created?
Well, I've worked with a lot of the artists on their personal guitars. So I worked directly with John Mayer, Ed Sheeran.
Wow.
Some Eric Clapton models.
Wow. These are our three most popular, most sought after models here. And Elvin here is a big John Mayer fan.
Yeah.
All right. When he demos his guitar to his customer, his first song will always be one of the Mayer songs.
Yeah,
that's
probably one of those.
Well, John's a super nice guy that we've gotten to be good friends. So when he comes through and plays, I will go visit and sit with him and talk. And he'll show me whatever new guitar he's purchased, whatever piece. But he's a super nice guy, and we keep in touch on email and phone calls on a regular basis. And man, what an incredible guitar player!
Can you bring him down here? Can you bring him down here? I would love to see him here.
I would love to. That would be fantastic.
Fred, you can let him know his fans in Singapore are crazy about him.
Yeah, so many of my guys here are all playing his songs.
And a lot of our customers who come in to try guitars, a lot of times they're just playing all his songs.
Well, I promise you this. I will, when you send me a link to this, I will send it to him and I will tell him that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he will appreciate it.
Already sent to you. All right.
That's crazy.
Okay. So before we get into the main topic of today's show, let's just briefly touch on something that it's affecting everyone here.
Yeah.
The COVID-19 situation. How has it affected you guys over there?
Pretty severely. We were closed probably for 6 or 7 weeks, where we produced no guitars. The factory was completely closed. That goes for both the factory in the United States and then our factory in Mexico that produces the X series and our strings. Both factories were shut down. We've been back producing for the last 4 weeks. So, but it's a big change because now everyone has to wear face masks while they work, and they have to have their temperature checked when they come into the factory every day. As we were talking earlier before we went live, only the people who touch guitars, the actual factory workers, are allowed in. Everyone else, if you're a support personnel or an office worker, they're all working from home. So if you're just working on the computer or touching paper, stay home. Everybody else is in the factory. But things are starting to loosen up a little bit. We basically had no more guitars left in inventory. So everybody had sold everything. It was all gone. So we have to hurry up and get some guitars built. And it changed our new product schedules quite a bit, because we had a lot of new prototypes and things like that were in development, and we had to just stop. And so that's put everything behind schedule. It's a big deal. You mind, I'll mention this, because sometimes, all right, we'll give you a little guitar builder inside stuff here.
Yeah, great.
The way it works, because it's very different when you're a consumer versus actually working in the industry. Some of the things people don't think about is the real issues are our suppliers, the people who make our tuning machines, people who make the electronics, the people who make the frets. We don't build those pieces in-house. And they're all on different schedules now, and they all have different levels of impact from COVID. So trying to get all the supply chain timed up and trying to figure out what we can and what we can't produce starts to dictate how the schedule within the factory works and what we can get finished and not finished. So things are very, very uncertain in terms of scheduling of guitars and what's going to be built and how it's going to be delivered out to consumers. So you may see some shortages on certain models, and it's not because we don't want to make them, it's because maybe there's a supply issue with those particular products.
I think that's a very good clarification for all of us here. We have customers wondering why certain guitars taking so long to reach us. So I think Fred has really shared the real scenario. And I believe it's not only for Martin, it's for every other guitar maker out there. They are facing the same challenge of supplies, components, productivity will be affected because of all the limitations of and the situation. So, well, our friends of Singapore, fans of Martin guitars, so be a little bit patient. The guitars will be coming. The new guitars, especially, they are coming eventually, very soon. So just be a bit more patient. They are on the way. All right. So okay. So so let's get started. Let's get started into today's conversation. We're going to break out in 3 parts. So let's talk a bit about the past first. Then we'll move into the present and into the future, right? So let's talk about history. So for our audience in Singapore, just in case you all don't know, the Martin brand has been around in the industry. They are the oldest guitar maker in the world. They've been around since 1833, and they are actually I would call them the original American acoustic guitar, because you guys invented it, right? So maybe you can actually, let's say, if you're going to introduce the brand to someone who just picked up the guitar, how would you actually introduce Martin guitar to someone who is so new?
I think the most simple way to introduce it is if you ask someone to close their eyes and imagine an acoustic guitar in their head, just imagine that image. The image that you're imagining is what Martin Guitar invented. That image, the look of a modern acoustic guitar today has not existed forever. That is an image that Martin actually invented, that shape, that look. That comes from a specific person. Back in the old days, prior to Martin, 1833, and even in Martin's earliest time frames, acoustic guitars were very, very small. They sort of look like the shape of peanut, right?
Those are the parlor guitars,
The parlors,
right?
right?
Little smaller guitars. That's sort of what existed, because acoustic guitars were always played as a solo instrument.
Right.
Just one person, no band. And then as CF the first started to grow as a builder and as a designer, he transitioned from that early European German Stauffer style guitar. He started to get more influence from the Spanish builders.
Right.
So the guitars got a little bit bigger. And then he said, hey, I want to make the guitars sound a little bit bigger. And all the early guitars, if you remember, had different kinds of bracing patterns, like fan bracing and all kinds of weird ladder bracing and strange things, because all the guitars were essentially gut or nylon string instruments. At some point, he ends up coming across the idea of using X bracing. Sorry.
Factory bell.
Is that lunchtime?
I apologize.
No.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
Across the idea of using X bracing on the top for a guitar, and that really changed the way the guitar sounded. And then moving into the early 20th century, guitars were actually being used with other instruments, and they needed more volume to be able to compete with banjos or mandolins or whatever else was being played. So the guitars got bigger, and as they got bigger, that X bracing really started to come into its own. And then suddenly somebody says, you know what? I think we can make strings out of steel. And then that changed everything. And at that moment, the Martin guitar was truly born, and that's in the dreadnought size. So the guitar that you see behind you guys right now, right in the center top, that's what people think about when they think of an acoustic guitar. And that's something that Martin actually invented. Everything, the shape, the peg head, the way the pick guard is done, the bridge, where the sound hole is, all of that is a Martin invention. And I think people take that for granted, thinking that's just the way it's always been. But it's not the way it's always been. Somebody had to do it first, and Martin Guitar did it first. So that's the way I introduced the brand to everyone.
That's very, very insightful. Yeah. I think it's a very good education, a very brief crash course for audience on the history of Martin. Yes, I think you said a very good point that the dreadnought, the guitar behind us, this shape is really being taken for granted, to the extent that it has I would say Martin has influenced guitar design more than any other guitar makers out there, because everyone has to use some of Martin's original designs and improvise on. So the basis is still a Martin design and basic elements in whatever they're trying to do with other brands.
That's a great point. When you think of many of the iconic Gibson acoustics, in many cases, those were answers to what Martin was doing. So Gibson's like, well, Martin's doing these great acoustic guitars. What are we going to do? And they end up making a hummingbird or a dove, which is essentially the dreadnought, Martin D.
That's right.
That's really what it is. And then I'll take a brand like Taylor, who is a very good guitar builder. But for the first 10 years, all Taylor guitars were copies of Martin's.
That's right.
So the Martin design is the starting point or the genesis of almost everyone's acoustic guitar production today. When you look at it, it all came from, the starting point was all Martin.
It's quite interesting also that Ing Long and I, we were talking a little bit off camera, that the Martin guitars actually started with a D18 and a D28, which I thought was really cool, that at back in that time, that was the only models that we had. And the reason why, because for the live streams that we do here, Fred, this for you to know, is that I'm usually the one hosting, but I suggested that my boss-in-law come on the stream as well.
Yeah.
So the reason is because
I'm a virgin today.
Yeah, yeah, because we have City Music has a history with Martin, right?
Yeah, we do. So
for a
actually,
long time.
since City Music, we have been working with Martin for many decades. We started representing the brand in the 1970s.
Great part.
So yeah, and we have really, over the decades, we have really seen how the brand has evolved. I mean, in the 70s, we sell like maybe, if I tell my guys, we sell maybe 20 guitars in a year, Martin guitars in a year. It's like, what?
Back then.
Back then.
Right, back then
It's like, it's in today's context, it's a joke, right? Obviously, we sell a lot more Martin guitars now. But it's just, in those days, life was simpler then. We have D18, D28, 35.
Right.
It's just this few models, and today the catalog has just exploded. I don't even know how many models are there actually officially. Would you know, Fred?
170 different variations.
Wow.
Yeah.
Variation, yeah. Of course, that includes the stock models, the special editions, the custom, and the limited editions stuff. Yeah, but it's still a lot, and we try to represent as many as possible. So yeah, I mean, of course, we also have customers that actually like to have a bit of customization of their own. So we have a custom shop. So we do custom shops once in a while, and some of it, you can basically do anything, right? You can put your name on it if you want to. Yeah. So that's
we have a saying.
Yeah.
We never say no.
Mm-hmm.
We never say no to what someone wants. We only say how much.
That's great.
I had a customer who ever came in to customize a D18, and the reason why he wanted to custom this guitar was he wanted to pass it on to his next generation. I think that's something very beautiful.
That's nice.
Yeah. Right.
We see that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Well, the instruments sell for so much money. I mean, I don't know. Did you guys see the Kurt Cobain guitar? How much that sold?
Oh, that was recent, right?
The recent auction. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, $3 or $4 million, something crazy like that.
I understand that Martin would usually buy back some of these collected pieces. Was Martin really going after this piece before he went out of the auction?
We looked at it.
Uh-huh.
We looked at buying it. We already owned one instrument, one Martin that was owned by Kurt Cobain, but not the one that he played on MTV, but a different one. And we try to buy them when we can, when the price was just enormous.
Right.
Yeah.
We weren't going to do that. But it's good. It's good for the brand in the sense that I think the 2 or 3 most expensive acoustic guitars ever sold are all Martins. So they are great investments as a vintage piece. In fact, I think that Kurt Cobain guitar was actually the most expensive guitar ever purchased of any kind, electric or acoustic. I mean, it sold for more money than Eric Clapton's Blackie.
Yeah.
Sold for more money than Dave Gilmour's Stratocaster. So we were shocked. Happy that it went like that. But yeah, you guys have been to the factory, so you understand. Go into the museum. We have a lot of. We probably have the largest collection of vintage Martins in the world here.
Yes.
Chris Martin has that, and we bought a lot of really important, beautiful guitars. And when you come visit the factory, I know you guys have. You could play those guitars. It's kind of fun to play some of those old instruments.
Yes.
I haven't, but I'll be there someday.
You need to come, Alvin. You need to come.
Yeah, okay. I'll be there.
Waiting on.
Before we started the stream, we were playing a short clip of the Martin factory. We were there personally, and we were actually brought to this vault where they had the collection of this pre-owned Martin that Martin acquired back. And it was like, wow, and the host was showing us, this belongs to this belongs so and so, all the big names there. Wow, I want to open it up, and I said, no, you can't. But it's really magical when you see actual guitars previously owned by these big names over there. And of course, the museum is great. Is the museum open or is it closed right now?
It's closed right
It's
now,
closed, yeah,
unfortunately.
unfortunately, yeah.
Hopefully soon we can get it reopened, but right now it's closed.
Yeah.
One of the most fascinating things when you see the museum is when you look at some of the old guitars built in the 1800s and how beautiful and how modern they look. You wonder at how someone was able to build this before there was electricity. You don't even think about that there was no electricity. Everything was built by hand. Everything was, there was no machines. There was no power saws, nothing. Sanders, just a man in his two hands, and they were able to build these incredible works of art. It's really fascinating.
All right. Okay. I think let's take a short little breather here, and we're gonna go into.
Okay, we're gonna go into our first quiz of the night. So, all right. So this is for the viewers. What's up, guys? Once again, it's good to see all of you here. So, once again, we are giving away this free Martin Ed Sheeran T-shirt tonight for our viewers. So, the first person who can answer this question will get this T-shirt. Yeah.
So Alvin will be asking
so the
a very simple question.
Yes.
And the first answer that goes into the chat.
Yes. No staff allowed.
No staff allowed.
No, none of our own
no
staff.
staff allowed. All right. So the first correct answer will get the T-shirt. And this T-shirt is not even available from Martin. It's only available through City Music.
Yeah. All right. So here's the question, guys. Name the year that Martin & Co. was founded. And if you can name that year, you get the free Martin Ed Sheeran T-shirt.
Fastest finger.
All right. Sorry, Mike. Not for you.
No.
I will see you tomorrow in office.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll let the answers come in. I think meanwhile we can just move on. Let's
we can move
on to the
right?
next segment. We are in the interest of time. Right now we're actually running at 47 minutes. Fred, we're having a great time actually having this chat with you. So time is flying by, man.
It's overrunning, but you know, if it's good, why not?
If
it's good, why not? Okay. 47 minutes. All right.
Yeah. So
okay. So let's move on to let's see if who's going to come up with the right answer. All right. While waiting for the answer, we're going to move ahead and let's move to we'll talk about a bit of the past. All right. Let's move into the present. Okay. So we have. Do we have a? Answer?
Oh, we just got a.
We just got the winner. First correct answer, Mr. Jacob.
Congratulations to Mr. Jacob.
All right, we'll be in touch with you to arrange for you to have the T-shirt. All right. Well done. Congratulations.
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for
thanks everybody.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's move to current. I think this is the more exciting part of today's program because we're going to talk about guitars right now. So we're not going to talk about standard series. We're not going to talk about D18, D20. That's overdone already. Everybody knows D18, D20, D35, 41, 42, 45. But we're going to talk about new guitars that were released, announced at the NAMM show this year in January, and we were very fortunate actually to be able to attend the NAMM show because after that it's gone. You know, there's no more shows, no more events, no more trade shows, no more fairs. So. One of the highlights of this year's NAMM show was the new X series.
The new X series.
The X series, which Alvin is holding one. Nice. Which model are you holding now?
This is the DX2E.
Okay, so I think let's let Fred explain what X series is all about. Yeah. I mean, what we understand is entry level. It's the most affordable Martin. It's affordable, but it still sounds great. But I think there's a lot more, which I think Fred can explain to us.
Sure. Well, the first thing everyone knows about the X series is that the back and the sides on almost all X series are made from a high pressure laminate, which is it has a photo image of wood over a pressed fiber back and sides. It's much more economical to use, and it's much more environmental as opposed to always just cutting down a tree to use on inexpensive guitars. So this allows us to sort of have a much more environmentally friendly instrument. It's super durable.
That's one of the things you need to know about it. That it's
Yeah.
very, very durable. While you still have to take care of it like a guitar, it's not nearly as susceptible to the environmental changes as some of the more expensive instruments. So if you want a guitar that you can just take anywhere and play on the street or go camping or do whatever you want to do with it, that's the perfect guitar. If you're looking for a guitar to start, if you want to learn how to play guitar, maybe you're just getting into it. Once again, that's a great guitar because it still sounds like a Martin. That's the best part of it. It's still a great sounding guitar. And we've had a lot of success with it over the years. And this year we felt like we were ready for an update. We really wanted to sort of up the value that we were giving the consumer. Now, the early guitars used a Stradibon neck, which was a laminated neck on the guitars. And that was a super, super strong neck and was easier for us to build in Mexico. But this year we decided that we're going to go with an all wood neck. So if we have a guitar that has a wooden top on the X series, it was going to get a wooden neck, it was going to get a wooden fingerboard, it was going to get a wooden bridge, because those were composite materials in the past. So this really helped the tonality of the instrument, really helped it sound a lot better. It felt more natural. We also added a pearl style rosette around the sound hole. So we wanted to decorate the instrument a little better. We've upgraded the pick guard. In the past, they were just generally black pick guards. So now we put a tortoise pick guard on the instrument. Sorry about that. Into it. All right, cool. I'm getting good at my mute button here to help not have to hear it.
Okay.
It's all right, actually.
all
It's
right,
quite a
it's all
cool
right.
thing.
That's
We can
fine.
tell people that that's the factory,
Yeah,
the factory bell.
we can
I kinda
tell
like
the
it.
world in Singapore here that you are working. You're indeed working
That's
here at
right,
your workplace, right?
And then we upgraded the inlays on the instrument too. So we put some nicer inlays on the guitar. In the past, they had no inlays at some point. Then we had small inlays, and now they're the more traditional in size and appointment.
Right.
So we felt like we've really upgraded this instrument, made it sound a lot better, made it look a lot better coming into this year. And consumers are responding really well. I mean, the response has been fantastic, and the reviews that we've been getting in magazines has been very, very good on the instrument, considering the price point that we're offering it at. So we're really happy with the results so far. Oh, and I should mention this also, that the patterns of the wood that we're using, if you turn around and look at the back of the guitar, those are all brand new. So in the past, we had some older patterns, pictures of the wood that we were using, and we've upgraded all of those. That's a Koa piece there. So we went and actually went out into the factory here and picked up some of the most beautiful pieces of wood that we could find, photographed those pieces, and those are the images that you're seeing on these guitars now.
Right.
So we've upgraded the Koa, the mahogany, and the rosewood, and now we're offering a Macassar and some other variations in there. So it's a lot more eye candy for the consumer if you want something that looks a little more special or pretty.
Yes, it is quite popular with our lady customers because they do like the aesthetics of it.
But let's say, Elvin, what do you feel the difference between the previous generation and the new X series?
I haven't really spent too much time with the new X series. But from what we
we just
so
got
far,
it. We just got them 2
2
weeks ago.
Yeah, so some of the guys were making some videos about it.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a really nice refresh on a series that works. It's really proven the test of time with our customers who are looking for Martin to start their journey. And we still, because we do handle the servicing for the Martin guitars that we sell here, we still have customers coming back in with their old the DX. It's not even a 1; it's just a DX series, and you know they sound really nice. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like the wood on top is opened up. And yeah, it's a really good choice still for a lot of our customers who are just looking to start. Yeah,
and it comes with a nice gig bag this time, right?
Yeah,
That's
it comes with a nice gig bag.
You're absolutely correct.
I think the gig bag is it's just a new sweetener. Actually, it just completes the whole. It makes it affordable. The gig bag it gives enough protection, and it's stylish. Right, it's proud to carry this gig bag when you're walking, taking a bus or the subway.
And another great point, Fred, that you brought up is the high pressure laminate back and sides. We are unfortunately in a climate in the tropics, so the guitars everywhere here, no matter what the brand it is, they are still susceptible to the humidity.
90 to 95% all year round.
That's ridiculous.
Humidity.
Yeah, so that is another reason why I think it's a really nice, guitar for somebody who's starting out, who maybe not sure, like, what's the best way to take care. But yeah, it's really popular with these people as well. So yeah, it's really nice.
I do remember in the earlier years of the X series where the press release, when we first received the first press release of the X series, you were saying something like, and that was 30 years ago, right? The X series is already 30 years. It's that long, and it got a lot of media attention because Martin at that time already was ahead of the game, ahead of time, looking into alternative materials because they know wood is getting more and more expensive, more scarce, and today, 30 years fast forward, and people have no questions, no doubts about even if it's a laminate, or, it's and of course it is made in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Navajo factory, which could you tell us about this Mexican facility? It's a Martin factory, right? It's not a.
Oh, it's absolutely a Martin factory. Yes. In fact, when I first started at Martin in 2004, we were still making that guitar here, and we transitioned it to Mexico as a way of really helping us maintain the price point, because it was getting too expensive to build in the United States. So yeah, we work with the company in Mexico where we actually own all the factory equipment, everything. If you ever make a trip down to Mexico, which I would encourage you to do to our factory if you get the opportunity sometime, when you walk inside it, it looks just like the Martin factory here. No difference. Super clean, super beautiful, very, very nice factory. All the same machines, the same policies, the same procedures, everything applies in our Mexico factories here. It's not like we contracted with someone to make a guitar for us. That's not the case at all. It is a 100% Martin factory. We run it just like we run the factory here. There's no difference at all. In fact, if we wanted to make D28s in the Mexico factory, we could do it. They're that good at making guitars. We just choose not to.
Actually,
but,
we ever did blindfold tests quite often with customers. Try this guitar. We don't tell them whether is it from America or made in Mexico. I mean, they're so good. You can't really tell the difference in the quality.
No, you can't. The folks who are making, the people who are making guitars in Mexico are very dedicated. And over the years now, as you said, it's been 30 years since we've been making guitars down there. They have a lot of experience. They're very, very good at making instruments now. It's not like it's a new startup and they don't know what they're doing. They've got the best top of the line machines. So when we buy a very expensive or technologically advanced machine for the United States, we buy the same machine for Mexico. So we want to make sure that the instruments we're making down there are just as good as as the instruments we're making in the United States. It's very important to us.
I heard
from
that,
a brand standpoint.
I heard that some of the factory staff in Mexico, they are next generation.
This is something I was super
also joined the factory too. Is that true?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So I think that's a very family thing again about Martin guitars. It's even the workers are bringing their family, their next generation into the company to work. I think that's something very beautiful.
We try to treat everyone like they're part of that. We're all part of the same family. That we're very dedicated to our workers. That when times are tough, like we just had with COVID, we don't lay people off. We don't get rid of them. We hold them because we're dedicated to them long term, because we understand that it's their skill that really helps make these guitars great. And you can't do that with new workers all the time. You have to have that experience to make these kinds of guitars. So that's really important.
Maybe the audience want to hear a bit about
how it
the
sounds.
X-Series? Yeah. All right. So
So I'm just gonna play a little bit, alright? Not too much.
Okay. Sounds familiar. Nice.
Fred, that's dedicated to you. That one is actually one of our National Day songs.
Or they
called
call
Home.
it Independence Day over there. Right?
Independence.
Yeah. So
That's a movie.
Yeah. Right.
Nice.
Very nice.
That
very
was nice.
Yeah, so that's the X series, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice.
Actually,
very,
we do
very
have
nice.
quite a wide range of different models.
Yeah, different shapes
different
as well.
shapes,
Yeah.
sizes. Very nice. Do drop by and check them out. And
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. Well, let's take a short little break again for.
All right. So it's quiz number 2.
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right. So we got
El-
another T-shirt to give out to you guys. So congrats, Jacob, for getting the first one. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for sticking around. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your comments and your questions. We are watching them. I know just now Jonathan said that the Martin factory bell sound like a stranded whale. It made me laugh in the middle of just looking at the screen. So, all right. So this is the question again for you guys. Yeah. So fastest fingers first. Here's question number 2. Where are the X series guitars made in?
Fastest fingers.
Yes. So first answer gets the prize. We have a Martin Ed Sheeran T-shirt waiting for you. FOC. Yeah. So, all right. I think. Thanks, Fred, for that great explanation of the X series.
Well,
That's really cool. And shall we move on to our next?
Yeah, we should move on. I mean, let's have a brief greeting of our audience again. You know, thank you guys for joining. Oh yeah, we forgot. We need to shout out to Tone House. Tone House actually, they were kind enough to for this special live stream lend us their lights. That's why we look so good in the lights. Y'all can't see the big lights behind. Yeah, so yeah, we look like a studio today.
All right,
so
we got
thank you,
Tone
Tone House.
We got a thanks Ma from Tone House.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks
Shout out to him.
Jingfu from DAT for this.
Yes, we have DAT mics here, marking up the acoustic guitars.
We already have a winner. Fantastic.
All right, who's this? Yong Feng, our top fan, right?
Yes.
All right, well done. Congratulations. Okay, so we'll be in contact with you. And okay, don't worry, we still have more.
Still got one more. We still got one more.
Huh? Okay.
So congrats, Yong Feng. Thanks, guys. Thanks for all your comments. That's the real top fan from Tama. All right. So thanks, guys. Thanks for the answer. We already have a winner, and the winner is Mr. Yong Feng. So yeah, let's move on to something that I'm really excited about.
Actually, let's move
Everybody's
on.
very excited.
Yeah, this is the style. I would say this is the style of today's topic, right? A discussion here, the SC13. So this is another very important guitar that was announced, introduced at the NAMM show this year. So for our audience here, we do mention the NAMM show once in a while. So just in case you don't know what we're talking about, NAMM stands for National Association of Music Merchants. It's a trade show only open to trade. That means for us in the music trade, we attend the show, and usually all the other brands will be rushing to showcase their latest products, innovations for the year. So there we go. Okay, so the SC13 together with X series. There's many other guitars that were announced at the NAMM show at Martin's booth. But I would say the most exciting one actually would be this guitar that Alvin is holding on
right
to.
Here.
It's called
right
an SC13. This is the most talked about guitar for Martin guitar for this year, 2020. And what I understand that it has already got 2 awards at the show. One of them is the Music Radar Awards, Best of NAMM 2020. This is the best acoustic guitar for the show. And there's another, crazy. There's another award by Music Inc. magazine, Editor's Choice, NAMM 2020. And I mean, this is like the Grammys for the music industry. You know, it's very high awards.
Yeah.
So maybe we could get Fred to. I'm sure Fred has got a lot of involvement in this project. So maybe Fred can explain to us this exciting piece of instrument here.
Well, this is a really interesting story that we started for this guitar. As you know, acoustic electrics have been around a long time, and of course, cutaways have been around for quite a while. They're not new to the acoustic guitar market. However, they were sort of fraught with a lot of issues that they're not the easiest guitars in the world. In other words, even though an acoustic guitar had a cutaway, it was very difficult to play that far down the fingerboard because the way the heel of the neck and the width of the body would get in the way of the instrument. And we had been experimenting with cutaway guitars for some time, so we made cutaways of D18s, 00028s, and those kind of models. And to be perfectly honest with you, we don't sell very many of them. We sell a few, but not a ton.
Right.
And some other brands like Taylor were doing much better business in the cutaway market than we were. So we were owning the more traditional part of the acoustic guitar market, and Taylor was doing a very good job in the cutaway electronics market. And part of that issue, we kind of had to do some self-examination. You know, why are our instruments maybe not as popular with those types of players? And we realized that part of the issue is we have a more traditional setup. Our guitars are set up to sound fantastic acoustically, which means the string setup may be a little bit higher than if you set it up too low. You can sacrifice some things. And there were reasons due to the way we construct instruments that we had to do things the way they were done. So instead of trying to compete or trying to get those consumers with the same traditional instruments that we always had, we said, let's... Yes, just in time for the bell. We said, let's start over. Let's start over. Let's go ahead and just try to draw something from scratch, from brand new. Let's not try to adapt an existing guitar. Let's invent something new.
Right.
I'm a notorious doodler, so I like to draw pictures all the time, especially when I'm sitting in meetings and not paying attention like I should be.
Right.
I will sit and draw. Like I'm sitting here right beside me right now. Like I'm always drawing like pictures of guitars and things. So I started to draw this particular shape of an instrument, and we started to have some conversations about what if we make a guitar that looks like this.
Right.
And then the next conversation that came up says, is there a way to build this guitar without having a heel on the neck? Because if we can get rid of the heel that comes off of the neck, then we can change the cutaway and give the player more access.
Okay, sure.
Well, if we get rid of the heel, then we've got to change the neck joint, because our neck joint usually runs down through the heel of the instrument. So I said, okay, I want to do something that we can slide the neck on, but it still needs to be a dovetail. And we started adding all these things, and we're going, this is going to be impossible. We'll never be able to do it. But over time, we were able to figure out how to go ahead and attach a neck by sliding it onto a mechanical dovetail neck joint, use those 2 bolts in the back to sort of pull the neck tight into the instrument, put a scarf on the back of it. That allowed us to achieve a completely different setup in terms of the strings and how low we could pull the strings down that we could not do with the previous instrument. We used a laminate koa. We used a helical neck because we wanted the neck to feel like as you played it, it moved with your hand as you came down the neck. So it felt more comfortable. We wanted it to it was really aimed at a very modern acoustic guitar player. It was not aimed at the traditional Martin consumer or guitar player. It was for young people who were looking for something different. Because we saw it online. People were using the acoustic guitar in ways that we never imagined. Things that were very inventive in the way they were tapping and the way they were playing on the instrument. And we wanted to give them a guitar that was for their generation, for the modern generation, not a guitar that was for your father. You know, we all have our father's guitars. This is something for young people, for new people today. And if you happen to be an older person like me and you like to play that way, that works also. So we added lots of crazy elements to the guitar. We used X bracing on the back so you could see it through the sound hole in there. because we're an X-Brace company. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah.
And then we did the label on the inside. We wanted the label on the inside to look like a record.
Disc. Yeah,
you know,
it looks
back
like
in the old days
a
when you had record. So we wanted it to look like the center of a record in there, and that was a lot of fun to play with.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then we used the new material for the rosette. We wanted to sort of kind of give it it's sort of a helical look, like the iris of a camera, like if it were closing.
Beautiful.
Really wanted to play with that image a lot. So it's just a lot more style.
Yeah, very nice.
Well,
and there's a lot going on. It's a very easy instrument to take care of because you can quickly remove the neck from the body. It can quickly adjust the action. With one turn of a screw, you can adjust the intonation. These are all new inventions for the acoustic guitar. No one else can do that. Yeah, you can see it inside there. These are all new patented technologies that we came up with. And we really think it's going to change the way people build guitars. And you're going to see more instruments coming out like this from us in the future.
Fred, you say it was patented. I believe that's
Yes.
one of the questions that Ying Long was wanting to ask.
Yeah, we hope we won't see this design in any other brands out there.
You will not. You will not. In fact, I got my name on the patent, so that's good.
All right. let's have a bit of a shout out to Jonathan Cole earlier on. Jonathan Cole is a very good friend of ours here, and he actually did a fantastic review on this guitar. Maybe the admin can actually give the link of the review that he did on the SC13. Jonathan Cole, one of our top sessionist guitarists here. He has a channel here. He did a fantastic review on it, and I think he really did a good job, and he played a few nice songs on it, recording, and it's just sounded.
He's watching the stream and he commented. He says that
right
it's a dream to play.
Correct. Because yeah. So actually, when the guitar first entered our showroom, we were so excited. So the first thing I did was actually not to play the guitar. Oh, I mean, I
take it up.
We play the guitar, we strum on it, right. All right. But for me, what's most important first thing is I actually took out the neck, and I just want to see what's behind this construction, because I do get questions from clients asking, is that a bottleneck then? You know, which we understand it's not. I just wanted to see what is this floating dovetail is, and I took it out, and I did. I mean, the guitar was already set up very nicely, but I just wanted to push the limits a bit more, and I started to do a bit of setup for some of my friends who knows me. You know, we all do our own setup here. I do my setup for instruments too. So I just want to push the H a little bit further, and I actually got it down to the action that's even lower than many electric guitars.
This one, right?
Yeah. That's the piece here.
Yeah.
All right. In fact, I took a photo just to show how low the action actually was, and it's amazing. So. I mean, Alvin, you as a guitarist, how do you feel?
Right.
What do you find? How do you feel about this guitar?
So the first thing that because I wasn't around on the day that they got the stock, so when I came in back to work, I went straight to this guitar because I saw it sitting there and just played it. And I think I was there for about half an hour into my shift.
Really?
So yeah, because I play a lot more of an electric guitar, but I think that is one of the first things I fell in love with was the action on this guitar, because it's really comfortable. And Fred, you're absolutely right about the people doing new stuff on this guitar. I think it's gonna change the way people play, and I'm really excited to see more people get their hands on this. I'm playing riffs that are like stuff that I would practice normally on a electric guitar.
Yeah, all the chops, right?
It's like I'm learning this song by Polyphia. I wouldn't nail it, but it's like it's a song that I would never dream to even play on an acoustic guitar. Okay, I'm still working on a riff. It's horrible, but yeah, I would never be able to do that on maybe another like a Dreadnought guitar. Yeah, so it's really nice. You get
let's show the audience something that you can't really do on a traditional acoustic guitar. Do a bar chord on the 12th
you can't
fret.
do this.
Yeah, correct. Do a bar chord on the 12th fret.
Right. Yeah.
13th fret. 14th fret. You can't really do that on many other traditional guitars.
This is not fake,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
It's a pleasure to play, I think.
Can capo 10 fret, come on, say.
Yeah, you can do crazy things with this instrument here. So maybe Fred, you can explain to us why this so SC13, we break it out. It refers to each letter, each character represents something. So
Right.
S, why S?
Actually, S was part of the shape, and we were trying to come up with a good letter to use, because we've used so many over 170 years. We're running out of letters. So all that happened was essentially when I was drawing the shape, I was using an S as a way of starting how I did the piece, and I'll show you. I think I can do it right here, probably.
Fred, that was in the video, right, for the SC13. I believe I saw this drawing.
Yeah.
With,
I saw you sketching in the video. Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
it's like tracing this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
That was when you were having your executive meeting, right? When you were doing that.
Right. That's basically it. Then we just sort of connected it, and then just took away the bottom.
There you go.
So it just
Yeah,
kind
so
of
the S is like
started
this.
playing with it that way. That's all it is. It's like an S. Yes. That's it.
Very cool.
That was it. And I was going to say, because I had worked at an electric guitar company for so long, I was at Gibson for 15 years. That electric background started to become very handy as we were designing this piece.
Right.
Because, like you, Elvin, I play electric guitar a lot.
All right.
And see, I have a Telecaster over here in the back.
Yeah, pretty comfortable.
Back of my office. So I have a Tele sitting back there and some other stuff, and I'll play those during the day.
We see it.
And I wanted an acoustic guitar that felt a little bit more like some of my electric guitars, because I wanted to play some different songs that I wasn't able to play on my D18.
Right, yeah.
And this guitar I thought was a good transition for that. And you had spoken earlier about how you've had some female players come in, and they were very attracted to the aesthetics of some of the X. I think this guitar also, we had an eye on female players also may find this easier to handle.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because the Dreadnought is a pretty big guitar.
Yeah, it's a lot like
they do get in the way,
Yeah.
Correct. As you notice, the lower bout, the upper bout where your right arm hangs over the guitar is a little bit shorter.
Right here. I love that touch of the design. Yeah, I saw the video with you did with Jared Dines. And that was I was blown away by that. I never noticed it, and now it makes so much sense because it's so comfortable and ergonomic. To like have you just hand resting there, and you don't have to go too far to hit the strings.
That was exactly our feeling and our thoughts. But it created some very interesting design challenges, because by lowering and making that shorter, it changed the bass response of the guitar. So that really had challenged us in a way to sort of work with the bracing on the inside, so that the guitar had a very balanced sound. We didn't want it to sound too bright. So our goal was just balance, because when you're plugging the guitar in, you don't want a guitar to be too bassy or too trebly. You want a really flat signal to work with. So that was a bit of work on our part to get that correct, but we got there. I think it looks good.
Yeah, it does. It feels good, plays good, looks good. So S is the shape, C is obviously the cutaway. 13, why 13?
Well, 13 is part of our new nomenclature for full gloss guitars with binding, made in Mexico. So that's the top of the line product. And we were talking about the Mexico factory. Here we come out with our most technologically advanced guitar, and we had enough confidence in our factory in Mexico that they could produce that instrument. That's how good they were. We knew they could do this. So we set up an entirely new production line just for this guitar. So we'll probably only make maybe 3,000 of these guitars this year for the whole world. And then next year we'll have more available. And right now we're working on new variations for people. Different price points, different types of wood, different aesthetics that use the same neck technology and the same body shape. So if this guitar maybe is too expensive for you, we may have one coming soon that's too bright, would be a little lower price point. And if this guitar, if you want one that's made in America, that's even more different, we may be working on something like that too right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
That's exciting.
That's
yeah,
great.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions that I had planned.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But cool. We are so excited to get to see the rest of this. This is just the beginning.
Yeah. So
just the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And it comes with a nice Fishman system, right?
Yep, right there.
Yes, it comes with a nice Fishman system in there
We
with
can
the tuner
see-
on the inside.
Well, I can turn on the
So
tuner.
just hit it with a button and the tuner comes on the inside.
Yeah.
Looks great. And lights up for you. We think it's the perfect guitar if you're playing on stage.
Yeah.
It's a great stage guitar.
Yep.
It has everything you need. Easy to transition. Like I said, if you play electric guitar a lot, you want to play a couple acoustic songs, this makes it a much more simple transition as opposed to pulling out your old Dreadnought and trying to handle that. It's hard to be playing a Les Paul and then go to your Dreadnought. It kind of feels so different. It kind of messes you up a little bit. And this should be a lot easier.
I think this is, we got a lot of mixed reaction when we first saw this guitar, we heard this guitar, because we are mixing tradition and innovation.
Right.
So people would associate Martin as a very traditional company because they have been around for 187 years.
187.
Yeah, that's right. You know, so yeah, so it's kind of like, you know, so we were wondering, would it sit well with the traditional Martin fans, and you know, is it too modern, too advanced, too avant-garde, you know, that it may not be acceptable. But I think obviously not so far, right?
Yeah, so far I think our customers' reaction from coming to try, they are just like me. They are very surprised with the action on the guitar, so it feels really good. And I don't know, in this region like Asia, our guitarists here tend to prefer a slightly lower action. We've had quite a few requests of people, you know, to asking us to, you know, lower the action a little bit for them on their guitars. So we do notice that it is something that you know, it's our market, I guess. You know, they really like something that's comfortable to play. You know, and this is really can't get any better than this, I think.
I think this is the lowest action of a Martin guitar that we have ever seen.
You have to try it out to believe it, for all you guys watching. Yeah, to come down and try.
I mean, we have seen Martin guitars evolve over the years. In the 70s, the Martin guitars action was a little bit higher, a little bit more difficult to play, especially for us Asian players. Of late, the past 10 years, 8 years ago, we started to see a change. It has become a lot more, seems to be a little more geared for us. Basically, you're paying attention to us Asian players now. We find the guitars a bit more playable, but with this guitar, it just pushed to the next level. It is like an electric guitar. So nice to play with, and actually from a guitar repair or maintenance point of view, it's such a pleasure to work with. Actually, this instrument, you do your setup, you do your intonation, you do your whatever, you know, your maintenance, adjusting the neck. It's clever. It's really clever. Cleverly designed instrument, and I think I think we have at least another innovation, because to be honest, how much more can acoustic guitar change? Right? Until we saw again another breakthrough from the brand itself. Yeah, brilliant.
We love it, Fred, and we can't wait to see more.
Yeah, we're sold out. Our first shipment is sold out.
Our first shipment sold out. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, the first shipment that came in so far, this is the last piece that we have, and we can't sell this one directly because we want people to come down and try.
We have another review by another very prominent influencer. His name is Jarvis Wong. He has his own channel called the Guitar Spa. We have one with him right now. He was so excited that he wanted to also have a go at it. So he's preparing for the review. We're looking forward to that, and also a very good friend of ours. He has done many nice Martin guitar reviews. So when he saw this guitar, he's like, you know, I want to be the first one. So he's one of the first few to lay his hands on. Yeah, so we'll keep a lookout. Keep a lookout for Jarvis. A shout out to Jarvis Wong, the Guitar Spa.
Yeah.
Let's look forward to his nice review of the SC13 and of course many more Martin guitars.
Love you, Jarvis.
I will give you one thing that we're working on for the future that you'll
right.
see that working with this guitar is that we're working on offering alternative necks. So if you own this guitar, because you can pull the neck out of the guitar relatively easily, you will able, hopefully in the future, you'll be able to just buy a neck and maybe with a different fingerboard or a different fingerboard width, because it will work with different widths. And you'll be able to just have one guitar with 2 or 3 different necks that you can interchange and use however you want to use them. Maybe you want a rosewood fingerboard and you want one with an ebony fingerboard. Maybe you want a fingerboard with a different pearl inlay from another one. Maybe you want one with a slotted peg head. We'll be able to do that and be able to purchase the neck and put it on the same guitar body. And that will be a really cool option because the neck is so easy to take in and out.
That's like a modular kind of thing already.
Yeah. We swap like what Jay said in the command. You swap pickup. Now we can swap necks easily. Wow, that's clever. We have a nice comment from Jacob. Can we bring up his comment to the screen and just have a look?
Oh, it's a question.
Yeah. What about a Dreadnought version? Smaller is better. Ha ha ha. How about something like the OM42? Oh, that would be sweet. Well, that's a question for you, Fred. So something for you to think about.
Yes, we are working on using that neck joint and cutaway style on a Dreadnought. We're looking at it for a triple O. We're looking at it on an O. We're looking at it on all the body sizes. Each one creates their own different challenges. And from a manufacturer standpoint, we have to consider what is the market size in comparison to the amount of tooling investment we would have to make. For example, on a single O, we don't sell very many single O's. So it may cost us too much to make the tooling investment compared to how many instruments we would actually sell. However, I will say that we're going to be working with the custom shop in the future. It may take a little while, but in the future where they can offer this as an option and the custom shop may be that place where you can go buy a single O or a double O version of this kind of instrument because we want custom to be able to do anything. So we'll see if we can get there. It may take us, now this COVID's put us behind schedule a little bit, but maybe in the next 18 months we'll be getting close.
That's really exciting to hear. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
In the meantime, there is this.
There is the SC13. So let's if you want to try out the guitar, we are sold out, but we have demo units for you to try. The only piece available for now, but there are more shipments coming in. I think the factory is also trying to trying to ration out to each country, because the production is so backlogged right now. So, yep, we have a few owners already, early adopters. They got the guitars. Good for you guys. The rest, be a bit patient. More will be coming. Thank you very much. And let's take another short break.
Let's do another quiz.
Another quiz.
Quiz time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's loud.
It's loud.
All right, so this is the final quiz for tonight, number 3. Question number 3,
So we're giving out T-shirt again.
All right, so once again, this is what we are giving out today. Free
Ed Sheeran
Martin T-shirt.
Very nice.
So first comment.
Ed Sheeran headstock here.
Yeah, first comment. Yeah, out of the pocket.
Yeah, out of the pocket.
First comment gets the
nice Martin
T-shirt. All right,
logo.
So
fastest
well,
fingers.
this is a pretty trick question. Make sure you are paying attention during this video. So this is the final question for the night. All right. For the SC13E, what does the S refer to? So yes, we'll see what are the answers.
We'll see who is the fastest finger.
Yeah, and then you'll get a Martin.
You get this exclusive only from City Music. You don't get it from Martin. Fred, if you want one, we'll sell it to you at a good price. Maybe for a price. All right. Maybe let's do a trade.
We'll bring one when we come to the factories.
Yeah, one T-shirt for one SC13. Good deal, right?
Okay, that's the deal.
Oh, we already have a winner.
Fantastic.
No, Gary.
All right. Congratulations, Gary. Thank you. All right, so
Singapore, Jacob. No, the S in the SC13E does not stand for Singapore. I'm sorry,
No.
but it is, as Gary has said, it is shape.
Of the guitar.
So,
Yes, it is
yes,
the
fantastic.
is the S shape.
Yeah, it is the result of Fred's doodles during his
Yes.
meetings. It is the shape of the guitar. So congrats,
How long
Gary.
did it take this guitar to from conceptualization to actually fruition of the product itself? How long did it take?
Well, we had talked about it for probably 3-4 years.
Wow.
But from the time we actually started really working hard on it, probably 2 years.
Right.
Wow, 2
It's
years.
actually quite fast.
It's very fast,
That's
actually.
pretty fast. Yeah.
I thought we were really quick. We're such a traditional company.
Yeah.
Being able to convince the organization to try something new was not easy. Everyone is skeptical of what we were going to do. And we knew that when we put it out, as you said, the traditionalists, there was going to be a certain amount of haters who were going to give us a hard time.
Of course.
Right.
But that's okay.
Mhm.
You know, you have to move forward in life. You can't live in the past.
That's
You
right.
have to move
That's
forward. You respect the past, but you can't live in it.
Right.
So that's how we approached it.
Yeah, and that brings us to the next segment, as you said, moving on, right? So we talk about. Okay,
So we have a bit of a confusion in the
bit of confusion, Gary. You know what? Let's just give it to both Garys.
So
then.
Gary TXC, you got the answer in the first
We
part.
are two Garys, so
Gary
let's
T also answered.
let's give to the two
So,
Garys then.
All Garys. All Garys in the comment section.
Both Garys will get your T-shirt.
Congrats, both Garys. Thanks for watching, guys. I mean, really,
Yeah.
this is what it's about. So thanks for tuning in and staying tuned to this conversation. We're really having a good time. I think this is nice. Thanks, Fred, again. So yeah, maybe we move on to the
let's move on. I mean, how's our audience? Well, we still got a pretty strong
we got 30,
viewership.
33.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So let's move on to the next segment, which is talking about the future. So the company has been around for 187 years. The brand has been around for 187 years. That's a lot of history. That's a lot of innovation. That is also history now. Then what next? What else can we see? Can we expect to see from the brand, Martin, moving forward?
Well, I think as we spoke a little bit about the SC13, more modular designs, I think are going to be important.
Modular.
I think we're going to keep working on alternative materials because the natural materials are becoming so restricted and difficult to obtain and limited. When you get them, they're limited, and when you do get them, they're very expensive. So we're going to be looking for new species of woods, new types of materials to put into the guitars. I think as you saw with the modern deluxe instruments that we did the previous year, where great guitars.
Favorite.
Where we're starting to use titanium in the truss rods to lighten the guitars up, carbon fiber in the bridge plate to increase the response. We're using liquid metal bridge pins, which is a new. It's actually a class as much as it is a metal. To improve the response to the instrument. So we're looking for these new materials to sort of improve upon these traditional designs to see the instrument evolve. I don't know if everything we do is going to be as radical as the SC13, but I think you're going to see a faster evolution of the guitars. There was a time period, with Martin where they, from 1940 to 1980, they really didn't change very much. I don't think you can do that in today's age. I think the way you communicate, like doing this live broadcast today, the way you communicate how you design instruments or how you connect to your consumers is going to be probably as big an evolution change to obtain to how guitars are sold and bought going forward. I mean, there's only so much you can do to an acoustic guitar and have it remain an acoustic guitar. You can't change it too much. You can't take a violin and turn it into something that's not a violin. I mean, it has to do what it was originally performed to do, which is perform acoustically. And so there's only so much we can do there, but we're going to continue to push the envelope in terms of materials and see how much our consumers are willing to change with the instrument. We're sort of testing the waters now. Are the consumers willing to come with us on this journey, or are they going to not allow us to move forward. They just want us to stay in 1934. We're going to find out. I think there's going to be a blend, and I'm hoping we can balance things going forward, where we can keep the traditional consumer happy and continue to build traditional, authentic style Martin guitars, and at the same time engage new consumers to try new guitars like the SC13 and have them communicate back to us what they'd like to see and how they want to use the instruments, so we can then design more new guitars to meet their needs going forward. And I guess the new consumers will discover the old guitars, and some of the old players will discover the new guitars. And I think that'll be really cool. So we're gonna do some things with some ukuleles coming up that are gonna be a little bit different.
All right.
To try not to, that's a traditional piece of our business, but I think we're gonna have to do something more new and modern there. People aren't willing to spend a lot of money on ukuleles. It tends to be a little bit lower price point, so we have to get inventive in the way we make guitars to hit these price points, to keep consumers happy, keep guitar players happy. And I'm just curious to see how music is going to change. The way people are playing music and the way they're creating and sharing music, I think, is driving a lot of how instruments are being produced or are constructed going forward. I think it's going to be, people are going to demand more electronics in their instruments. And that's a really difficult thing to do, because electronics change so fast, and the platforms that use these electronics change so quickly, they become obsoleted almost instantaneously. Get it out fast enough. So we need to design electronics into the guitars that can be interchanged and pulled out and updated. If you just design electronics that can't be updated, hell, before you know it, they won't be able to interface with anything. Because the technology is moving too quickly. So we're trying to think through all those elements when we're building these guitars. I mean, that's one reason we started putting all the electronics inside on the sound hole instead of on the top side of the guitar. Because once it's on the top side of the guitar, you're stuck, right? If something better comes out, you can't change it. But if you put it on the inside, you can always take it out and put something new in there and continue to grow with the technology. So that's a little insight into what we're thinking about. Oh, and by the way, we're doing a lot of stuff on strings too. A lot of new technologies on strings.
This is something we want to talk about as well.
So so that the strings last longer. We're looking at lots of new materials that are naturally resistant to corrosion. And strings is a weird one, because the longer you make a string last, people buy fewer of them.
That's true.
Well, I'm sure you still sell a bit more in Asia because of humidity here than
they rust a lot faster in our climate here.
They do. They do.
I came across somewhere that will be Martin celebrating 50 years of Martin strings. So
absolutely,
are we going to see anything special coming out, or anything new?
I hope so. I mean, when you're doing R&D work, you have a timetable or a schedule that you think you're going to have something ready. But there's so many unknowns in the research and development side of the string market. Hopefully we can do it, and finding the suppliers to work with to do these new strings is not easy. Because it's such a unique and small market. Nobody really invests enough money into it. So that's a lot of work. And we're probably the only instrument maker left who is making their own strings. I think Fender strings are contracted out to another maker. I think Gibson strings are contracted out to another maker. I think we're the last man standing in terms of making our own strings on instruments.
And they sound
we
great.
prefer it that way. We like
the current would be the authentic acoustic line. They're fantastic.
These new strings are really they work very well. I think
my authentic acoustic hat.
Oh, we have some nice interesting comments here. We have Remy. Hey, shout out to Remy.
Yeah.
He says you guys are still in the showroom at 10 p.m. Yes, we are.
I love his next comment.
Yeah, can Fred play something for us? Okay, you have a request here in Singapore.
I could, but you wouldn't like it.
All right. We'll spare you this. Maybe next time, one of this if there's an opportunity, you can come to Singapore. We'll put you up on the stage.
All right, when I come to Singapore, Elvin and I would do something together.
Yeah.
Yes, let's
that
do
would
it.
be nice.
I'll be
That would
here.
be nice. In fact, we used to run we run a event with Martin. We have this Martin Experience event that we've been running for many years. We started off with Diane Ponzio in the earlier years.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I only watched the video, but that was
yeah.
phenomenal. That was she's a
we
performer
had a
almost.
crash course of the whole Martin history, and she was amazing. Good, a lot of passion, a lot of energy. Loves the brand, loves the guitars. Good singer, songwriter. Just beautiful. And last year we had Rick Ferrero, your colleagues, Rick Ferrero and Mike Zenner.
Yeah, Mike.
All right,
well.
so we had another round. So actually, usually we will have like a festival of different Martin players coming on to just share the love of the Martin guitars, play some nice music for. It's always a very nice.
Not this year, sadly, because of what's going on, but
obviously. But I think we have
in the future.
We have
yes,
Fred.
again.
We have Fred this year, so I think that's as good really as a Martin experience.
Well, maybe when I come and play, and I'll try to bring John Mayer with me and let him get up and play instead of me.
I hold you to that. I'm going to hold you to that.
My Papa John.
All right. Okay. Let's move on to quickly into another very important topic. Actually, the big boss, Chris Martin. We a lot of people may not be aware that Chris Martin is actually also the chairman of NAM, National Association of Music Merchants. How is that? How did that even come about? Actually,
well, he had been serving on the NAM board several years in different capacities.
I see.
So eventually, he just they work your way up to be president, and you run like a 2-year term, I think, as president of the board. It's really interesting because he learns a lot about what's going on in the industry, and of course, Chris, this is all he's done, so he already knows a lot about what's happening. But now that his NAM chairmanship will be ending in next summer.
Next summer. Okay.
Yeah, he's announced that he's actually going to retire.
That's what we heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
how
he's been
does
telling
that?
us for years that he would do that. So.
So what would it mean for the future of the company? And the
well,
brand?
clearly, I think we're going to look for a new chief executive officer. Chris will remain as chairman of the board, so he will remain in control of the company from a board standpoint, but less so on the day-to-day operations of the business. So we'll be engaging this year on a search for a new CEO. So be sure to put your resume in. You never know. This could be your new job. You could come run my
Okay. Wow. That's not an easy job. I'm sure.
Yeah, come on. You like guitars. You know a lot about it. You'd be good. We do good stuff together. But hopefully, I don't think we're going to see a big, from the guitar player's point of view, I don't think they'll notice a big change in the way the company runs. The culture is so strong, and we have a pretty good core group of people who are already running the business internally, and a good plan going forward. We know where we want to be. We know what we want to do, and we know who we are as a brand. I don't think those things are going to change going forward. So I think it'll be transparent to most consumers. And luckily for Chris, he'll be able to spend more time with his family and enjoy more time doing other things after having done this his whole life. And I think that'll be really good for him and for his health and for his family's health. So we'll be wishing him the best.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll still see him a lot. He'll be in and out of the factory quite a bit, I'm sure.
Yeah,
It's just like transitioning, right?
let's give a shout out to Chris. Hopefully he gets to watch this live stream sometime. And hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And Chris was actually in Singapore, if I remember correctly, 8 years ago. About there, he was actually on a cruise
I remember.
to whole world, and actually he stopped by Singapore and with his family, his wife and his daughter.
Where was I 8 years ago?
Where were you?
School.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, and we had a fantastic time. We brought them to the zoo. We brought them for
that's cool.
seafood. Brought him to visit some guitar stores. An interesting story. Right. We brought him to one of the stores next door, next building of ours. Has got some nice guitars there, and there were a group of our customers also there. I mean, they used to they like to move around in different stores, guitar stores, and there was one of our good friend Jarvis.
Oh, Jarvis.
And his group of, they were out there checking guitars.
Right.
And when I was with Chris walking in, and he was the first one to shout, "Mr. Martin, Mr. Martin!" and of course, Chris will always be very nice, sharing stories and very friendly, signing autographs. That was a very nice. So we hope
cool.
He can come down here again one of these days, sometime soon. Then we can host him again and bring him to see more things.
We'll be shouting Mr. Green when you come down.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes, we will want Fred to come down too, right?
Oh, when it comes out to Mr. Green, that never happens.
Okay, so I think we probably come to pretty much the final segment of, the ending of
we're gonna maybe do some questions. If you guys have any last burning questions, do let us know. I saw a question earlier from Jacob. He was asking where can we expect the custom necks to come from?
Let's bring out the question
US
and see.
Or Mexico.
I like the idea of custom necks. Would that be coming from the US or Mexico factory?
That's a good question. I think probably in the beginning, they'll probably come out of US. That's just my guess right now. Only because we don't want to interfere with the production because they're trying to catch up on the SC13s in Mexico. So I don't want to give them any more work. So we'll probably just make the neck here in the United States. And the ordering process will probably work through the custom shop. So if you wanted to buy an SC13 neck, we'll probably set it up in a way where you can do that through the custom shop. And because those guys are used to doing all kinds of custom work. And they'll move a lot.
Hope that helps you.
It'll be it'll be a year before we get that done, but we're working on it right now.
Yep. All right.
Let's see. Do we have any other questions?
Some nice comments.
Fred, we got one question from our staff. Cycling back onto the SC13. Earlier you mentioned that this is actually Koa fine. It's a vernier, right, on the Martin website. So you mentioned that it's actually a laminate. This one.
Yeah, it's a veneered laminate. Yeah, so it's actually got 2 pieces of Koa and in between mahogany, in between 2 pieces of Koa. That's what it is.
Well, that's interesting. That's something that I think our customers want to know. Thanks, Fred. That's from us, from our staff.
Yeah, no problem. And a quick one, when someone asks you, is this a bolt-on neck? And obviously it is not.
It is not, yes.
In the traditional sense. One easy way to explain it to them, at no point does a bolt enter the neck of the guitar, ever.
Right.
That's true.
So by definition, that would not be a bolt-on neck.
Yeah, we will all send the setup video. So they took it apart inside and we saw it, and that's when it clicked in my head how it worked. And I think it's so genius, that it's the dovetail that's pulling the neck down to the body.
That's right.
So it's not a bolt-on neck.
Of course, a word of caution to our customers out there that those who have bought the guitar.
Right.
I know it's very tempting to see that 2 bolts you want to open up and see what's going on inside. But actually, leave it to us. If you think there's a need for you to do any setup or any adjustment, bring it back to us. We'll be the experts to help you sort out the kind of playability or action that you want to do.
Right.
All right. We
because
have some.
You can over-tighten it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
use a torque wrench.
That's right. And we have a lot of nice, friendly comments.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for joining today, actually. If you guys have any more questions. Okay, we have this. Oh.
Jace, skip that.
Okay, we have got a lot of nice comments and interesting questions too.
Hi, what's up, Nicholas? And we have a viewer, Remy, saying thanks to Fred for making time for
yes, it's
us
an
in Singapore.
honor. Yeah. Okay.
My pleasure.
I would have one last, maybe for as a closing words for our friends here, Martin fans in Singapore. In your opinion, why own a Martin guitar over any other brand?
Let me see if I can make this as concise as possible. First off, it's hard because there's a lot of reasons, in my opinion. If the most important thing to you is quality and creating art in terms of music, the best way to create art is to use a piece of art. And our guitars are not machine-built factory pieces in the traditional sense. They really are handmade instruments. And I think if you're trying to create music that has passion and feeling in it, it's much easier to do when you use an instrument that has passion and feeling in it. And it's built by people who care about you, the player, and they want you to create something beautiful with it. And they want you to be able to take that instrument and hand it down to your children or to someone who means something to you. And then that instrument will always remind the other person of who you are and the things that you've done. And that never goes away. And I think all those feelings go into the instrument. As it gets older, it only gets better and it gets better. And it means more each time. Right. So I think if the music and the art is important to you, Martin guitar is really the only way to go.
Wow. I think that's beautiful art, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a very nice way to prove it. And it does, you prove your point. Yes, definitely. And do we have any more questions for our fans?
Yeah, I think we're good. So
okay.
Yeah, if we missed any of your questions, sorry about that, but don't worry, we will definitely hit you up in our DMs. Just anything, just let us know. We are here. Call us, email us, shoot us up in our DMs, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We'll help you guys out. So I think we're good.
I think we're good. So we really come to the end of our live stream. And how long did we clock today?
That was almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours. My
1 hour
God.
and 52 minutes.
Wow. Thank you for hanging out with us, Fred. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. On behalf of
Singapore.
On behalf of Singapore Martin fans, thank you for doing this for us, and hopefully we could have you sometime down in Singapore very soon. And I'm sure our friends here will love to connect with you.
We'll bring you around and eat all the best foods.
That's right. That's what we're known for, right? All right. So thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for more of our live streams to come. Follow us on our social media until our next live stream again. Stay safe. Any final words for our audience?
Take care of yourselves and take care of your guitars.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
All right. So thanks again, Fred. Thanks so much for doing this. Thanks to everyone for watching. And I guess with that, we will sign off.
All right.
So
have a good day, Fred.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next stream. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Smile and wave, gentlemen.